Today is, I think, April 20th. Yeah, April 20th. I'm looking at my calendar. 2022. I look a mess, but I always do. So yeah, today I have experimented again with making a smoothie, and I put 3 gummy vitamins in it. I have to melt one because it hardens it actually once it hits the cold. And I think it just makes it easier to essentially chop up in the blender. So yeah, I put 3 of those. It was 2 different kinds, but anyways. I also put 2 lion's mane capsules in it, a St. John's wort, I think that's how you say it, capsule in it, because I just went through all my old vitamins, so who knows if these are still good. But then I also put in half of one of those vitamin B capsules, which I think I talked about in my last video, how those are absolutely disgusting. They smell so strong, they make me gag. I mean, even the smell is enough to make me gag. But I put half of one of those in the smoothie, and it managed to cover that. There was a slight earthiness, and it is pretty chalky because I'm also adding a tablespoon of protein powder, and my smoothies end up being a cup and a half of smoothie. But yeah, it covered it, and it was actually easy, so I think I'm figuring it out. I feel like the smoothie is more yogurt, juice, and powder than it is fruit, but that's fine. So yeah, I think I've also talked about buying way more fruit than I can actually eat in a given period, a certain period of time. And I bought strawberries for smoothies that I just cut up, and I'm currently freezing in layers so I can so they don't all freeze together. It doesn't matter, but I'm freezing those. I cut all that up, but I had a pineapple that was sitting on my counter for a few days, and I'm sure a lot of people would consider me gross in this aspect. I mean, my boyfriend definitely, he is disgusted by this, but I don't feed him this food. I hate wasting anything, and I think I've talked about my hoarding tendencies, and that is a genuine serious thing. They exist. I'm not a hoarder, but the tendencies exist, so I'm not just trying to be dramatic here. But I hate wasting. That's part of that. And when it comes to food, I will look online to see if this food is okay to eat, and if I can find one thing that says it might be okay, I will do it. As long as it doesn't smell awful or look particularly bad, I will eat it. And if this pineapple, I kind of don't want to go into the detail of its condition because I'm embarrassed, but it's a little brown on the inside, but structurally it was fine, and it smelled fine. And I figured okay, it's probably just too sweet, and I can just freeze it, because that is one plus of fruit. If it gets too ripe, you can just cut it up and freeze it and put it in a smoothie. So I did that, and I ate a few chunks while I was cutting it, and they tasted pretty good. I was eating the parts that looked completely fine. There were some parts that were definitely more iffy than others, and I did put some of those aside, but for the most part, the brown stuff that wasn't mushy or anything like that. There really wasn't anything that was mushy, actually. It was all fine, but most of that stuff ended up like in a bowl that I'm going to freeze. But I set aside the stuff that looked completely fine. And again, while I was eating it, cutting it up, it tasted really good. But when I sat down to eat that, it didn't taste like awful. It just like wasn't pleasant. And I noticed there were parts of it that were a little bit more iffy in terms of color, and I noticed a part of that like indicated it really shouldn't be eaten, but I'm still not sure if it was that. Like it's really, it didn't look like the pictures I saw online, but like, I don't know, it could have been that. But I ate that. Yeah, so I have no idea how that's gonna go. I feel relatively okay. I didn't eat too much of it, and like I said, I'm gonna freeze it and see if, I'll see if I get sick from it. I'll make smoothies with it probably in the next few days, so I don't test it out during the surgery. I mean, I should go through this fruit before the surgery, but yeah, it's probably not good that I do that, but at the same time, like, not being wasteful is just so important to me, that I will risk that so long as a huge medical bill or death isn't a possibility. And I looked up like when I saw that little piece while I was eating it, I looked up like what happens if you eat a bad pineapple, and it basically just said food poisoning, and I've never had it, so it's easy for me to say like, okay, but food poisoning I think is better than going to the hospital or dying. So yeah, I'm sure one of these days I'll get food poisoning. I mean, knock on wood, but yeah. Today I've cleaned up my kitchen a little bit. I have to do more of that, but my living room's kind of a mess, so that's a goal of mine. I actually woke up at a good time today, like on my own, so that's cool. But I've been using substances at night to help me sleep, which in terms of that, I don't like depending on anything, like even the psychiatric medication that's prescribed to me. I really want to get off of it. I don't know, it's funny because these substances are all natural, but I guess because the effect of them is felt so much more strongly than like lion's mane, where that's not like any sort of psychoactive thing, that's just like, it's a food, where this substance that I'm using is stronger. And for a few days when I was pretty depressed, I was kind of using it as a coping mechanism, which I'm not proud of. That's something that I don't ever want for myself. And there's been several things that I've done in my past that most people refer to as being quite addictive. It's very difficult for them to stop. And it just wasn't that way for me. If anything, I had to put effort into continuing it. And I wanted to continue it because I had this romanticized idea of it, or it was doing something for me that I benefited from. And there's a lot of nuance in that, but yeah, when it comes to this, it's like I am okay enough to not want to do it, and in general, I like to be in control, like, so I don't go to that very often, but it's not something I want to depend on, but it has been helping me sleep, at least I think, and that's just it. I feel like the more I do it, the more I need to do the next day, which I feel like that's usually how it goes. So, and this hasn't been happening for a long time, so yeah, I don't think it'll be too hard stopping it, but that's something that's going on. Okay, I know how I got on that topic. I kind of forgot for a second. I think that's all I wanted to talk about. I think. I don't know if this is silly, but I recently bought this guy. He's called the creator called him a mushroom impkin, and I just think he's so cute. My boyfriend said he looks like very, limp. That's not the word he used, but I think you get the point. But he's actually very, like, he can't stand up on his own, obviously, but, he's not falling over like this or anything. The person I bought this from, their shop, I think, is called the LARP Berries or something. I'll try to find their shop and put them in the description. They were very nice. There were some issues in terms of some of the information I put in, and then they had forgotten some stuff. Is there wire in him? That's why. I think there's wire in him. Okay. And then they had forgotten to ship him, which is totally fine. But yeah, I for a second I was worried I got scammed. For a short second, just because they had said that they were that he would be here by a certain time, and he hadn't been, but they explained it's because they forgot to ship him, and again, that wasn't a problem for me, because he's not like a gift or anything, just a friend. I love buying people's art. Right now I have 2 other, like, I guess expensive pieces of art that I've bought. It's never been over $200. Him I bought for I think around $50, and I actually bought my boyfriend a doll. I say doll, but I don't know if, I don't think you would call it a doll looking at it. I mean, it was so cool. Kind of looked like demonic, but like very cute. I bought him one, and I think that was close to $200, something like that, but very worth it. He loves it, and I love it. I just love buying people's art, like when it's super homemade like this. I just think it's, like, I know for me, my art is like, I feel like it's a little piece of love, and I get to appreciate something that somebody loved to make, presumably, and that's just awesome. So yeah, okay. I think that's all I wanted to talk about today. So, alright, thank you for watching. Bye.